Welcome to the morning of day 7. I'm having some breakfast on the porch of Kentucky Camp. And I slept here with about 7 other hikers last night. The caretaker, Mark, is an amazing dude. If you are ever on this trail and you're rolling through, you should definitely say hello. Stop and hang out with him. I had a great night of sleep. Sun is coming up. Guess it's just past sunrise here, probably. I'm going to finish breakfast and head on down the trail. I think I have today and tomorrow. And then I'm looking to get a ride from a trail angel back into Vail. Do a little bit of a resupply and maybe spend one night and get back out on the trail. But for now, it's breakfast. Starting our hike on day 7 with a road walk. Sun's out, beautiful blue skies. I will have to take this hoodie off here in a few minutes because it'll be too warm. Looks like the plan is about 15 miles down the trail. There's a wash that at least 3 days ago, according to Far Out, had some water in it. Now, you don't camp in a wash, water or otherwise, but some folks mentioned that there were some campsites nearby. So I think we'll be trying to make use of one of those. So I am 5 miles into my day. It is almost 10 o'clock. So it's about 1/3 of the way in. And you know, it's funny, there's a concept of 10 by 10 that I've heard of where you hike 10 miles before 10 a.m. I don't know if I'm ever gonna get to that point, but 5 miles before 10 a.m. isn't so bad for me. In order to finish this trail on time, I have to average 100 miles per week. I have about 8 weeks, it's about 800 miles. It sounds like I'm gonna get pretty close to 100 miles for this week. Looks like I'll get to about 96 and a half, give or take some, depending on where I find a campsite. And then next week, I do plan to take a 0 day in Tucson, hang out with my friend Kevin. At least that's the plan right now. But I think all of this is all right because, for example, there's about 100 miles between Pine and Flagstaff where there's nothing. There's a town called Mormon Lake, but I guess basically the town is shut down. So given that that town doesn't really seem to exist, and even if it did, the resupply options are limited, sounds like I'm gonna supply up in Pine and probably try and push to get to Flagstaff in 5 days or less, 4 or 5 days. So that'd be 100 miles right there. So, you know, I'm feeling okay right now about the pacing. I've just gotten over 2 of the bigger mountains, even though we didn't get to the peak of Wrightson. We didn't go up to 9,000 feet. It was still a pretty hefty climb going northbound to get to the saddle. And then up ahead in the next couple of days is going to be Mica Mountain in Saguaro National Park and Mount Lemon just north of that. And I think of the 2 of those, well, both of them are going to get up around 9,000 feet, and the north faces could still have snow. And I have not seen the reports yet, so hopefully in 2 days, when I get to Vail, I'll be able to get all my reports and make my plans and get prepared. But once I get over that, then I guess the next town to resupply is Oracle, and I don't think that there's going to be a whole lot of that type of climbing or the potential for snow for quite some time. I stopped to have lunch in a wash. I am maybe like, yeah, about 11 miles in to a 15 or 16-ish mile day. I think according to Far Out, it says that to get to where I'm looking to camp, I only need to go about 4 miles. So maybe I'm closer to 12. I don't know. It's hard to tell. My tracker that I use on my watch seems to be a little more optimistic about the amount of mileage that I do per day than the mile markers on the Far Out app. I don't know exactly who to believe. It's probably somewhere in the middle. Of course, distance traveled does not have to equal trail distance, so that's fine. But it's only just about 1 p.m. and if I make it to my destination in just 4 miles, that gives me a lot of downtime, which frankly I might take. I might just take some time to sit and rest. Because tomorrow I just have to get to the Route 83 junction for Vail to get picked up by Trail Angel Seth. And it's possible that I'll be joined by a couple of hiking friends for that resupply in one night in Vail before getting back on trail. Okay, so as you can see, I am posted up next to a stream. The last 10 miles were bone dry. And I think I'm only a mile or less from a good campsite. But I still have 3 hours of daylight left. So I think I've made good time, but I don't have to push more miles because tomorrow afternoon I just have to get to my pickup spot for going into Vail for a resupply in one night. So since the last 10 were bone dry, I'm gonna drink all the water I have, refill all the water I have. I might even carry 2 liters of dirty water, I mean, which means I might bring 5.5 liters to camp, but I also have to check about the water sources ahead for tomorrow. You cannot take water for granted on this trail. It does not feel good to feel like you might be cutting it close. I got to camp on the early side today. Let's see, I am an hour and a half before sundown. Kind of nice that I get a little bit more time off of my feet to relax. Maybe I wish I could have gone a little bit further, but based on the comments on Far Out, it looks like there's a pretty decent distance between here and the next usable campsite. And I picked a spot that I'm hoping if my friends make it here, they'll be able to pitch tent as well. As you can see, this spot is shared by cows on a regular basis. I just had to kick some of the cow poop out of the way in order to pitch my tent. You might also be able to tell there's a little bit of a breeze blowing. Check the weather using the Garmin, and it says the breeze right now is somewhere around 17 miles per hour, but it dies down through the evening, so I'm not too worried about it. I do have the guy outs on the peaks up, stake the tent down real nice, and try to make sure that my open vestibule isn't facing directly into the wind to create a sail. Or I should say I'm trying to avoid creating a sail. So I have pretty decent confidence in this Durstin tent in these wind conditions, and hopefully it'll be good. And since it is also creating a little bit of a windscreen for me, I'm gonna go ahead and cook some dinner, and since I have a little extra time, who knows, maybe 2 dinners. Anyway, I will see you tomorrow for the start of day 8, where I spend that night in a hotel room. Kind of exciting.